As you know, this is Carla Connor again. This is a remastered version of the song Ceeb with Boff. 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 I really do not want to go to shitey Boff, all because the Dover kept on ripping people off. It's the no real wonder why he got the sack from Boff, because he spoke to us like shite and ripping people off. Ceeb, 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 Ceeb. Ceeb with Boff, good riddance to Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, they can spoff off, good riddance to Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, 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 Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff. I really do not trust anyone inside Boff, all because the Dover kept on ripping people off. I wish I could just tell all the managers spoff off, because they keep on telling people they can get to spoff. Ceeb, 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 Ceeb. Ceeb with Boff, good riddance to Boff. Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, good riddance to Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, 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 Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb, really do not want to go back to shitey because they always look at me like, do I look like I give an absolute froth? I do not look like I give a froth about what goes on in shitey Boff. I really do not want to go back to Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, 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 Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, 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 Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, 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 Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff. Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, 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 Ceeb with Boff, Ceeb, Ceeb with Boff.
Viewfinder, stop recording video.